Oh, okay, my friends, let's work through the rest of this now. We're gonna head into Sheets and have some fun with some data analysis. This is the Bend Chamber of Commerce. So these are the people whose whose job it is to make people move to Bend. So they're trying to sell it on its sunshine and its snow for all the people that like snow in the winter. The one that really catches my attention is the average annual snowfall is 33.8 inches a year. Everything else in here about sparkly and magical and whatever, we can't measure that. But we can measure an average. So if you go into Canvas, I'm going to go into Canvas and I'm going to head into your course. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull open a course. Oh, there we go. All right, I'm going to put it in student views so we can all look at it together. And I'm in Ben's, but it doesn't matter. I just go in alphabetical order here. In the modules for week 6, you'll see the exact same sheets for class notes, for graph reading and creation, Bend Snowfall. Okay, so we're going to make a copy. Let's see if this thing opens. Okay, so this is the exact same data we were just looking at in this time series chart, except it's the raw data in a row. So in 1927, there was about a foot of snow. In 2023, there were 61 inches. So we actually did a pretty good job of approximating that one. In 2004, we said about a foot, and it is about a foot of snow. So this is just the raw data that I started from. Okay, let's go back to the notes and see what I want you to do. Average, right. This average annual snowfall, 33.8 inches. Okay, so we're going to do this more in this class, but to find the average of a bunch of numbers like this is actually pretty straightforward in Sheets. You just go equals average. So just like we did with sum in the Turtle Lab, we just use the phrase average, and then you select all the numbers. And then you close the parentheses and press enter, and it tells you it's about 31.3 inches of snow. That's how much snow falls on average in Bend each winter. Now, we're going to come back to what that means in a second, but that's what the average is. You might notice that it's different than the one they had. They said it was 33.8. I can think of at least a couple reasons why there's a difference. One is that they may have been using an older data set or just a different data set than mine. Mine I keep track of. Another thing, too, is mine pulls partially from the Western Regional Climate Center, but the last 20 years, that Climate Center must have lost funding for the station near my house, so I had to complete the last few years. So maybe they've got slightly different numbers than I do. I'm down. It's close enough. It's within 2 inches of what they say, so I can live with that. Okay. Now I wanted you to find the median, M-E-D-I-A-N, median snowfall. And I like talking about this with classes, and we'll talk about it more next week. Median, and that's equals M-E-D-I-A-N, just like average. Select the data and press enter. I'm going to bold it because I'm feeling saucy. So the median is about 27.7 inches, and it's different than the average by about 4 inches. And we'll talk about why as we go through the next couple questions. Now, the next question in the notes says, let's talk about what a median and an average are. Okay, I'm going to start with median for starters, and then we'll come back to the average. Let me get back into the spreadsheet. What a median is, median literally means middle, the middle of a data set. So if I zoom in, I'm going to zoom in on this a little tiny bit, maybe 150. That's not bad. It literally means the middle of the data set, but in order to have the middle of the data set, you have to put the data set in order. So I'm going to sort it just like we did before. So the least snowfall was 1940. We figured that out before. And the largest snowfall was about 91, which was in 1973, the year I was born. The middle is going to be, well, somewhere in the middle. But where's the middle? Well, first you have to know how many years there actually are. And I think we said it was 97, right? Let me back up here. Yeah, there's 97. Yep, 97 years. So if 97 things are in order, the middle of those needs to be halfway between the first and the 97th. Okay, so I can do this math in my head. So if I go to 96, it would be 48. It's going to be the 49th year in order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 40. I'm losing track. And I believe, if I get lucky, that's going to be the 49th year. Oh, let me just see if I'm right. So actually, I don't need the year 1920. I need the amount of snowfall. So let me just, I'm going to color this and let's see if I did it right. Did I count over 48? I did. I counted over 48, which means there's 48 below and there's 48 above, which means I found the one in the middle, 27.7, 27 point. Now, you see, Sheets found it for you. I mean, that's the beauty of Sheets, right? It finds it automatically for you. You don't have to go through what I just went through. So the median literally is the data point that takes all the data, puts it in order, and finds the literal middle. So what does the average do? What does the average do? Well, let's talk about the average now. A good question is, we know what the average is. You add up all the snow and then divide by how many years there are. So we could actually break it down. Sum of all snowfall. And this is over all 97 years. So I'm just going to do a sum command here, equals sum of all the snowfall. So it looks like we have, can't see what that is. Oh, about 3,000 inches of snow. Wow, that's a lot. That's like a football field of snow. Over all those years. And how many years did we have? Well, we just said 97, right? So if you take all that snowfall and divide it by how many years there are, you're going to recognize this number. It's the average, 31.3 inches, which is exactly the same thing we got up here. So why do we do averages? What's the point of doing an average? Well, the point of doing an average is to, and I'm not saying this is always a good idea, but it's to distribute the sum of all the data evenly across how many data points there are. So in other words, assuming that Bend got 3,033.35 inches of snow over all these years, that means typically we can expect, on average, 31.3 inches per year. And you can go down and look, and you can see that sometimes it's close. It's close in 28, it's close in 29, it's close in 31, it's close in 32. And then other years, it's not close at all. It's not close at all in 33. It's not really close in 35. It's definitely not close in 38. It's really close in 37. So the difference is what the average is telling you versus what the median is telling you. The difference is in how it's calculated. The median is literally just a middle. It doesn't care about the relative sizes of the data points, just the order of them. Whereas the average does care about the relative sizes of the data points. And we'll talk more about these in class a little bit here and there, but definitely more in Math 105 and in Stats 243. Okay, the last question on this section of the notes was make a histogram. Yeah, this is fun. This is fun, and this is you're gonna sense a similarity here between something we did earlier with bar graphs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the data, which is the snowfall, and I'm going to insert a chart. But the chart I'm going to insert. Well, okay. So first of all, Sheets gets confused and just what the hell is this? Let me zoom out so I can see this. Oh, I know what this is. This is just a gankier version. I'm going to pull a little bit wider. That's just a gankier version of this. I mean, mine's prettier, but that's the same graph. It doesn't have the dotted lines. It doesn't have the little snowflakes at each of but it's the same graph. But that's not what I want. I don't want that. I want a histogram, which is, mine looks like it comes right here. All right, that, my friends, is a histogram. Now, it looks like the bar graph we looked at before, and in some ways, it is similar. For example, the data we're interested in is snowfall, total snowfall in inches, which you can see right across the bottom here, right? I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see it easier. There we go. And you can see across the bottom is snowfall. Now, what's different about it is when we did the bar graph on the die rolls, we could actually list out all the individual rolls, like how many fours did we get? Well, it was either 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 up to 6. This, my dear friends, it's listed a little bit differently. Like this first bar here, the bar doesn't have one number, it's got two numbers, 0 and 10.56. Those are the endpoints of the bar. So what it's telling you, my friends, is This bar is counting how many years had between 0 and 10.56 inches of snow. Now, we can check that if we resort the data here. I'm going to sort it smallest to biggest again, A to Z. So if you look at this data and you add up how many years had more than 0 inches but less than 10.56, you can see there are 14 of those years, and that's what the bar right here is telling you. There are 14 years. How about between 10.56 and 21.11? 21.11. It's saying 22, and it looks like, oh, it's saying 21 now. Maybe this isn't 21.11 here. Maybe that's something interesting. It's saying 21. I just counted 22. I'm going to trust it. It probably did it correctly. It probably did it right. So I'm going to count it. I'm going to use its 21 count as correct. 22 have between 21.11 and 31.67. If you go all the way to the end, only one is between 84.44 and 95, and we know what that one is, don't we? It's that 1973 year. So all you're really seeing is it's a graph that breaks up the snowfall, and I think the way it does it, I'm not exactly sure how it does it. I think what it does is it takes the range of the data and then breaks it up into, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It used 9 bars. I don't know why it picked 9. You could probably change it. Actually, you know what? I do want to change this graph a little bit. I think we can make it look better. Because you notice how it doesn't have a vertical label on its axis. And I remember Michelle giving me a hard time about this because I didn't put a vertical axis on my bar graph in class. So I am going to go to the Customize menu, and I am going to add a vertical axis title. How many years have that much snow? Question mark. And that, my dear friends, I now know 14 years have between 0 and 10.5 inches of snow. 21 years have between 10.6 and 21.1 inches of snow, and so forth, and so on, and so forth, and so on, and so forth, and so on. So that's what we're talking about here. It's exactly the same thing as a bar graph, except instead of having single values under the bars here, you've got these ranges of values. And that's pretty much the difference between a histogram and a bar graph. Sometimes people use them interchangeably, which is totally fine. All right. This video is 12, almost 13 minutes long. That's too long. Let's stop and get to the next video.